his abusive parents to mental illness at the age of 6. After gambling the last bit of his family's life savings, he began spending the rest of his useless life reading fanfics at the library, when a mysterious book fell off the shelves. After opening the book, however, he was teleported to another world, where a bunch of weird mages had attempted to summon him. Along with him, he saw 3 other ugly losers: Rem the worthless sword hero, Motoyasu the dumbass spear hero, and Itsuki the useless bow hero. After the mages introduced them before the king, he told them that they were summoned to save the world from the waves, swarms of monsters that would destroy the world if the 4 cardinal heroes don't put a stop to them. So to aid them on their journey, the king gathered the strongest warriors to join their parties, but not a single one of them joined Naofumi's party. Realizing that he would die instantly without the ability to attack monsters with his shield, the hottest girl, Mine, offered to join Naofumi's party. However, because he only had 1 party member, the king gave him more coins than the other heroes, and all of them began their adventure. After destroying all the slimes in the field, he began absorbing all of their remnants, allowing his shield to level up. But before finishing the day off, Mine took him back to the blacksmith where he tried to wield a sword, but his holy weapon blocked him from wielding it. So instead, Mine told him to buy himself some cheap armor since his shield would protect him, while she bought the most expensive armor in the shop, and promised to pay him back however he wanted. After she made his simp ass broke, he took her to the fanciest restaurant in the town, where she begged him to drink PG grape juice with her and asked to spend the night with him. However, Naofumi's dumbass fumbled the bag and apologized because he only had a single bed in his room. So he left to sleep, realizing that he only had 200 silver coins left, but decided to hide them beneath his shield, and laid down, excited for the rest of his days in a different world. But when he woke up the next morning, he saw that all of his equipment was robbed, and as he tried waking Mine up, a bunch of guards surrounded him and threw him in front of the king with their spears pointed at him. Before his eyes, Mine began hiding behind the spear hero, telling everyone that Naofumi had pinned her down, and began developing plot with her before she could escape to Motoyasu's room. As Naofumi tried rejecting any of that happening, he realized that Motoyasu was the thief wearing his chainmail armor. However, Motoyasu said that Mine had gifted him the armor as a present last night, and told Naofumi that he deserved to have his neck slashed. The only thing that Naofumi wondered was why Mine would ever accuse him, so while no one else noticed, she smirked at his face and mocked him, making him realize that she had been faking everything just to steal all his money. Angry at how hard she ruined his life, and thinking that they'd all plotted his downfall just because he's the weak, useless shield hero, he screamed for them to send him back to his world. However, the king rejected his request, as summoning new heroes is only possible after all 4 current heroes are killed, so his only option would be to defeat all of the oncoming waves. But while all of them were disgusted at the idea of working with him, Naofumi promised to defeat all of the waves on his own, and threw all the guards off him, saying that he'll never need their help. Before leaving, he threw all his remaining money at Mine's gold digging ass, and when Motoyasu tried stopping him, Naofumi told him that he was too weak to waste time, and left as a mysterious spy watched over him. With that, all of his money, respect, and trust was gone, losing it all. While traveling around town, all citizens began avoiding him, and even the blacksmith was about to knock him out for what he did to the girl. But after seeing the glare in his eyes, he decided to let go, and instead offered him a robe, asking to pay him back whenever he could. All alone in the field, Naofumi began destroying all the slimes, punching them one by one until he finally gathered a pile of their skin and reached level 2. While traveling back through the town to meet the trader, the merchant tried scamming him by paying only 1 copper coin for his 20 slime skins. However, Naofumi knew he was selling them to much more for other adventurers, so he grabbed his face and threatened to give him a new face if he wouldn't buy them for the fair market value. So the merchant agreed to pay him fairly, and while the blacksmith was back at his shop, he saw the 5 copper coins Naofumi promised. For countless nights, he began sleeping in the middle of the field, and eventually found expensive herbs, and after absorbing them, he unlocked a new leaf shield to use. And with his new shield, he was able to enhance the quality of the herbs, so when he met a pharmacist at night, he was able to sell them for a high price. With everything he had, he would buy the cheapest food he could afford. But one day, 3 worthless morons ambushed him in the alley, commanding him to give them his money. However, Naofumi turned around and shoved a slime onto one of them, while blocking the knife of the other bandit with his shield. All three of them began running away, but even after they went away, now Fumi realized he was powerless, as he can't ever get stronger without killing monsters, and he can't ever kill monsters with just his shield. Seeing his frustration, Dr. Eggman's scamming cousin told Now Fumi that he had a very interesting proposal for him, and told Now Fumi to follow him only if he was interested. As they walked back to his hideout, the merchant told him that he was here to offer him some slaves, telling him that slaves would never lie or betray their masters. Because of the curse placed on them, they will always obey their owner's commands, and while he looked through all of them, he saw a little demi-human girl who looked sick inside. The worthless slave trader told him that she was the cheapest slave he had, as she was both physically and mentally ill because her previous owner loved torture, because she would likely die soon. The slave trader was willing to sell her for 30 silver coins, so now Fumi decided she was going to be the one he buys. Inside the slave merchant's room, he drew a sigil across her chest, and now Fumi saw her status appearing as part of his party. Before leaving, now Fumi asked for her name, screaming at her to stop her disgusting mouth from coughing, so she told him that her name was Raphtalia, and he forcefully grabbed her away. As he walked away, the trader was shocked that now Fumi really chose her, as if it was destined by fate to happen once again. Inside the blacksmith's shop, now Fumi gave him 6 silvers for a weapon that she could use, and told her to draw her knife at the slime hiding under him. But when she was too scared to react, he began activating her curse to force her into submission, so she rushed forward to stab the slime, but was too weak to deal any damage. Still, now Fumi screamed at her to try harder, and when she rushed forward this time, she blew the slime up, gaining XP. As she sat on the floor, he told her that she will become his sword as he protected her, and left the blacksmith to go to a food place. When he went inside, he asked for the cheapest food he had, and asked for Raphtalia to get the same food the kid behind her is eating. When she wondered why he would get something for her, he told her that it looked like she wanted it, and when she got the food, her eyes lit up, wondering if she could really eat something so nice. Tears began flowing through her eyes as she ate, but now Fumi realized that he really still can't taste anything. Later that day, they began farming the slimes once again, and once they were done, now Fumi's shield began leveling up. At the same time, Raphtalia wondered who he was, so he told her that he was the shield hero. After hearing those words, she remembered her family asking her who her favorite hero was, and when she said it was the shield hero, they were glad, as he was the only one who ever treated demi-humans kindly. When she asked for his name, he told her that it was now Fumi and handed her medicine to cure her sickness away. But it was more disgusting than his face. As he kept watching throughout the night, Raphtalia dreamed about the day her parents tried protecting her from a 3-headed dog, and threw her into the ocean as they were devoured. Waking up screaming for her parents, now Fumi tried holding her closely to calm her down. The following morning, the pharmacist told now Fumi that he'd make way more money selling medicine instead of herbs, so now Fumi asked if he could borrow some of his tools. Outside the shop, Raphtalia was watching a bunch of kids playing with a ball, but even though she pretended like she'd never want one, seeing her tail wag made him realize she was lying, so he decided to buy her one of them. Before the night approached, he tried buying a room, but when the merchant was hesitant, he threatened to make his face even uglier than it already was. As days passed, now Fumi kept taking care of Raphtalia and giving her medicine, along with selling everything else that remained. Slowly, they began diving deeper into the forest, but when a rabbit appeared, now Fumi tried making Raphtalia stab the rabbit. However, she didn't want to make the rabbit bleed, and as her curse activated, now Fumi told her that he wouldn't be able to keep taking care of her if she was unable to attack. After all, the waves are going to destroy this world. But when she heard that he was going to defeat the waves, her resolve strengthened, and she began charging towards the rabbit, ending it in that instant. She told him that she wouldn't be weak, and that she'd do anything to stay by his side. That evening, when they returned to the weapons shop, now Fumi decided to buy her a bigger sword to prepare her for tougher quests. So the smith showed them a short iron sword, telling them that it was a perfect fit for her. Realizing he was fast returning to being a brokey, now Fumi decided to ask if there was a nearby village they could earn some quick cash. Feeling sorry for his broke ugly face, the smith directed them to the nearest village, saying that they would find some quick and illegal jobs. When they arrived in the village, now Fumi decided to sell his rabbit skin to a merchant, and asked for directions to the nearest gold mine. The man told them that there was a coal pit nearby, and said that he could make some good money from selling the ores inside. Inside a barn, now Fumi decided to check his stats on the system. Realizing his shield had acquired exclusive effect and skills, he decided to reveal this new ability. At once, his shield transformed into a rope shield. Looking to discover its full abilities, he cast an airstrike shield before him and was surprised even at the sight of it. However, when Raphtalia appeared before him, he pretended like he was not impressed and suggested that they leave immediately. As they headed down the tunnel, Raphtalia wondered just what she could call him. However, Naofumi did not give two shits about it and told her to call him whatever she wants. When they were deep inside the cave, Naofumi began hammering the crystals. When he was done, he noticed that Raphtalia was shivering in fear and watched as a two-headed monster appeared before their eyes. Raphtalia realized that this monster looked exactly like the three-headed beast that isekai'd her parents, and as the memories continued flashing across her mind, she was totally paralyzed in fear. As the beasts hurried to devour her, Naofumi narrowly rescued her and dived into the water. As he tried climbing up the mountain, Raphtalia told him that a similar monster had eliminated her family, and Naofumi realized that this was why she cried in her sleep every night. Before long, the beast appeared before them, and Naofumi realized that it was a level 15 monster. He told Raphtalia that this was her chance to avenge her parents, if they succeeded in upgrading their EXP. He said that they would be saving several other kids from losing their parents like she did. After letting out those words, he charged at the monster, and as he blocked one with his shield, the second bit into his shoulder. Realizing he was about to meet his end, he told her to kill the beast immediately, but she was too chicken to even move. He tried commanding her, but even still, she was too afraid to stand. Realizing this was hopeless, he told her to run away before she was devoured, and said that she would finally be free once he was dead. However, she remembered how her parents were devoured before her eyes, and how Naofumi had saved her and had been a good guy from the very start. Afraid of wandering alone for the rest of her life, she charged forward and stabbed one on the head, but was flung aside. With the beast turning its attention on her, Naofumi cast a shield to protect her, and utilizing the opportunity, she stabbed it deep inside the heart, killing it in that instant. At that moment, their EXP increased, and Raphtalia rushed to hold him, happy to see him alive. As she cried in his arms, Naofumi realized that she had chosen to call him by his name, after unleashing their powers on a monster lion, as Matoyasu cast a lightning spear to slay it. With all the monsters destroyed, the skies cleared up in an instant. Having been away from the real battle, Matoyasu thought the waves was a mere cakewalk after all, and Itsuki said that he was looking forward to the next one. As he let out those words, the knights arrived. Seeing the slain beast, the commander said that they had done a great job, and told them that the king would reward them at the castle. Inside the village, everyone gathered to thank Naofumi for saving them from total elimination. However, Naofumi thought they could go screw themselves. The villagers tried telling him that he would always be their local hero, but he told them to f*** off. After they left, Raphtalia became sad, wishing her parents had been rescued the same way they managed to save this village from annihilation. As she began to cry, Naofumi tried calming her down. That night in the castle, as everyone celebrated their victory, Naofumi thought he was in a hellhole, and would surely not have come except for the cash reward the king had promised to give out to the heroes. As Raphtalia walked past Matoyasu, he tried to meet her, but Mine stopped him and began whispering some very evil suggestions. Raphtalia appeared before Naofumi and tried persuading him to taste the food, but he told her that he would rather drink his own vomit. Before his eyes, he realized he had acquired a new ability, which luckily helped him to teleport with Raphtalia to the scene of the waves invasion. Just then, Raphtalia arrived with food, determined not to take no for an answer, and quickly gave him a taste of her cake. Seeing this, Matoyasu's jealousy began to grow, so he tossed his glove at Naofumi and challenged him to a duel. With Mine having told him that Raphtalia was his slave, he said that he intends to free her from her slave contract, even though he was only hoping to see her switch over to his side. Naofumi told him that it was perfectly legal to own a slave, and began to leave anyway, but a knight stopped him, and the king commanded him to accept the challenge. Realizing this shit turned south, Raphtalia tried telling them that she follows Naofumi willingly, but a knight muffled her voice, and the fucking king said that she has been brainwashed. Realizing he was about to lose his only companion, Naofumi tried reclaiming her, but the knights drew their sword, determined to stop him. As Matoyasu appeared before him, he wondered if he would chicken out of the duel and run off, but Naofumi threatened to destroy him. That night, before the duel, Naofumi tried taking a weapon but it electrocuted him, and the system warned him not to take any unassigned weapons. As they faced off, Matoyasu told him to surrender before he wipes his ugly ass across the arena floor. However, now Fumi thought action speaks louder than words, and decided to activate a new shield, readying himself for the fight. With Matoyasu ready to destroy him, he began charging towards him, and rammed his shield continually but could not even cause a scratch. Now Fumi told him that he was a sore loser, and said that he has no chance at beating him since he can't even pierce his shield. Looking to put in more effort, Matoyasu activated his Chaos Spear, and began attacking with relentless onslaught until now Fumi was exposed, allowing him to slit his arm. Determined to make it even, now Fumi began running towards him, and successfully punched him in the gut. As Matoyasu realized that a balloon was sucking on his meat, now Fumi revealed the other balloons that were stuck to him. This was his secret weapon, and since he has no offensive attacks, he made good use of them to leverage his weakness. Angered to see him fighting back, Matoyasu thought of ending the duel with a powerful jab, but now Fumi shielded it, and knocked him away with his two-headed dog shield. Before he knew it, now Fumi launched an airstrike shield at him, and trapped him inside a shield prison. Inside the prison, Matoyasu realized that a few balloons were trapped with him. As he was unable to escape, all the people began to call now Fumi a useless coward that was too useless to fight. So he decided to release him, and told him to surrender, but Matoyasu told him that he would rather walk to China. Pleased with his response, now Fumi told him that he would destroy his pretty face so he would never get laid for the rest of his life. However, just as he was about to begin the facial reconstruction, a mighty wind blew him away, and he realized that Mine had used her magic on him. Angered by her cheating ass, he thought of destroying her at that moment, but narrowly dodged Matoyasu's spear, and successfully blocked all consequent attacks. As Matoyasu drew his lightning spear, he unleashed it straight at now Fumi, successfully penetrating his shield and knocking him out. With now Fumi weakened from the attack, Matoyasu declared himself the winner. However, as he began to leave, now Fumi accused him of cheating, and said that Mine had attacked him from behind. But everyone was silent in the arena. This made now Fumi think he was hallucinating, and soon began to wonder if everyone was f***ing dead in the eyes. Before his eyes, the king began to congratulate Matoyasu, and at that moment, now Fumi realized that Mine was actually a princess. All this time, they had tried to destroy him just because the king intended to hook up his daughter with Matoyasu, and even the duel had been a total setup from the very start. He was angry that they had summoned him into their disgusting world, and even still, had decided to hate him for doing no wrong at all. This made him angrier, and he thought of destroying every person inside the arena. Just then, a minister said that Raphtalia would now be freed from her slave curse, and all the people wondered why now Fumi's ugly face was summoned into their world anyway. Angered at his destiny, now Fumi pounded the ground, and before his eyes, they revealed Raphtalia's crest and doused it with a potion that caused it to vanish. At that instant, the system revealed that his contract with her had been terminated. As Mine led her away, now Fumi's anger grew tremendously, and he threw his shield far away, but it vanished and reappeared on his arm. As he screamed his anger, saying that this entire world could rot in hell for all he cares, his curse series activated in that instant. At the same time, Raphtalia smacked Matoyasu, wondering why he had to stick his ugly nose where it did not belong. She told him that now Fumi was a good master to her, and that he only activated her curse when she was too afraid to fight. Mine thought she was being disrespectful to the love of her life, and tried smacking some sense into her, but Itsuki and Ren arrived at that moment. As Ren demanded to know why Mine had cheated, Matoyasu wondered what the f*** was going on, so Itsuki told him that he actually lost the duel, but now Fumi had been attacked from behind. Even so, Mine would not admit what everyone already knew, and said that they probably imagined it or something, since no one from the crowd was backing them up. But Ren knew better, and told her that they were all unwilling to speak up because they were afraid of the king. As Raphtalia approached now Fumi, she tried telling him that she was still the same person as before, but he told her to f*** off. She told him that she heard he tried to develop plot with the princess, but believes that he was innocent. As she tried to touch him, he smacked her away, telling her to leave since their contract was now broken. However, she could see deep into his heart, and began telling him that she believes him, and would remain by his side forever just as she promised. As he grew angry, thinking he was hated because of his f***ing shield, he tried ripping it away but she stopped him. She told him that the shield was more powerful than he thought, and that it was the only reason they managed to save the village from total obliteration. Now Fumi told her that he was a bad guy, and never intended to save the village, but Raphtalia knew better and decided to hold him. She told him that she could see into his heart, and even though he pretends to be bad, she knew that he was a good guy. She told him that she was his sword and would follow him to the ends of the earth. Hearing her words, Naofumi realized that it was all he had ever wanted to hear, but then he realized that she had told him these exact words right before the waves arrived. However, he had been in a mood and had paid her no attention. She told him that she would stay with him forever, and before his eyes, he finally saw her true grown-up form, telling him that she was no longer the kid he remembers, and asked to stay by his side for the rest of her life, as they held each other close. However, Motoyasu thought that Raphtalia was still under a spell, and wondered just how he could break them up. But Itsuki told him that he was either blind or the greatest moron he had ever seen.
It's facts! It's facts! It's not facts. These ices are not facts.
The following day, Raphtalia gave Naofumi some leftover food from the castle kitchen. As he ate it, he realized that this was the first time he could ever taste food again. When Naofumi was confused as to who she really was, she told him that her clan grow as quickly as they level up, and that this had been the reason why they were considered inhuman, because they grow 4 times as fast as a regular kid. As Naofumi took a bite from the leftovers, he realized that he could taste food again, but Raphtalia told him to shut his ugly ass up. If only Naofumi told Raphtalia that he's a cultured man